Vladimir Putin, he's gaining popularity amongst the GOP. I want to pull up an image for you so that you can see the growth over time. For those of you on YouTube, you can see the growth and favorability in general. He's still obviously Vladimir Putin is highly unfavored in America in general. But you could see an uptick between 2015 rather, and 2017. There's an increase in favorability for Vladimir Putin. The increase is stemming from an increased support in the Republican Party. In a new Gallup poll, more than 3 in 10 Republicans have a favorable view of Putin, which is nearly 3 times the percentage who said the same thing in 2015. What's interesting in those numbers is that Putin's unfavorable rating of 72% has stayed the same over the past 2 years. And this tells us that a chunk of people who didn't know enough about Putin in order to form an opinion in 2015 now are forming that opinion. It is highly likely. But before I even finish that thought, let me pause here. It's only interesting from the perspective of Donald Trump's relationship or perceived relationship with Vladimir Putin. But the second level of why it's interesting is because traditionally Republicans have had a far more hawkish outlook on Russia and Vladimir Putin. So to see this increase and this uptick be driven by the Republican Party is fascinating because it shows you how malleable people are in terms of what they believe. It's hard to believe someone who knew who Donald Trump. It's hard to believe that someone who understood who Vladimir Putin was in 2015 can just change their mind in 2017 and like him more in 2017 when you consider Vladimir Putin has been the same son of a since 2015 as he is today. He's just as horrible on human rights violations. He's just as horrible on political intrigue. We'll leave it there. Political intrigue. He's just as draconian on his crackdown of the press and dissent. And so it doesn't make sense for someone who knew who Vladimir Putin was in 2015 to now have a more favorable view of him, with the exception of that's Trump's guy. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with trying to have a positive relationship with Russia. I'm not that guy. I don't really care. I mean, Obama tried to have a reset with Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Georgia, So it's totally cool that Donald Trump wants to have a more positive relationship with Russia. That's quite all right. But what's interesting is the fact that Republicans who have pretty consistently had an hawkish view of Russia now, because their guy has a more favorable view of Russia, now they have a more favorable view of Russia. And again, it speaks to how willing people are to flip on issues. The real question is, what issue will Republicans not flip on for Donald Trump? That's the real question. Where do they draw the line? Where would they not be willing to go on behalf of Donald Trump?